Getting 3 days of detention sucked. Having detention fall on a Friday sucked worse. Not that I had a hot date or anything, although I was anxious to get home to log into Fields of Fantasy. I wanted to find Sir Leo online and beg his forgiveness for abandoning him to the wolves the night before. But I had no choice, and so on Friday I sat in Mr. Wilkes' otherwise empty classroom, watching the clock tick down the minutes to my freedom. I was supposed to be doing homework, but I just didn't have the energy, and Mr. Wilkes made it clear there would be no drawing during detention, so I couldn't even work on my manga.
Maddy?
I looked up and my eyes widened as I realized that none other than Chad Murray had walked up to my desk and was actually calling me by my name. How did I not notice the god himself wandering into the room? And how did he know my name anyway? I thought I was permanently freak girl to the haters. My heart skipped a beat. He was dressed in a gray t-shirt and a pair of slouchy jeans. He looked gorgeous as always. I mean, if you were into that sort of thing, which I wasn't. Well, okay, fine. I was still a girl at the end of the day, and it was hard not to notice, but it really didn't matter, did it? Chad was one of the haters, the ones responsible for sticking me in attention to begin with. This Billy lackey was not a guy to have a crush on. "What do you want?" I demanded, narrowing my eyes. "Come to keep me company?" The sarcasm dripping from my voice. So much for my promise to Mom to be nicer and make friends. Chad took a step back, as if struck.
Nothing, really. It's just...
He reached into his book bag and pulled out a piece of paper. He held it out to me.
You left this in the cafeteria.
I looked down at the paper. It was my drawing, the one Billy had destroyed. "What do I want this for?" I asked. "It's ruined. Your friend Billy made sure of that." Against my better judgment, I smoothed the paper out on my desk, looking at it longingly. My gamer girl, Alora, smiled back up at me through the crinkles and paint smears. It had been such a good sketch.
Right.
He shuffled from foot to foot.
But I thought maybe, I don't know, you could, copy it or something, if you wanted. Then maybe it wouldn't be a total loss.
Oh. I looked up at him, surprised by the gesture. He really was a lot nicer than his friends. "Yeah, that's not a bad idea. Thanks."
No prob.
He said, still standing there awkwardly. He paused, then added,
Sorry about Billy. He can be a real jerk sometimes.
"Yeah, just like the rest of the haters," I muttered, putting the drawing in my bag.
Haters?
I blushed. Hadn't meant for him to hear me. "Oh, just a nickname I have for your crew," I explained. "The haters, you know, since you hate most of the school." Chad laughed appreciatively.
The haters?
He repeated.
That's funny. And probably pretty accurate, too. I mean, at least for Billy and the girls.
I looked at him skeptically. "And you're different?" Now it was his turn to blush.
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't mess with people like they do. I hate that kind of thing. I'm more of a live and let live kind of guy.
"So why do you hang out with them, then?" He shrugged and looked embarrassed.
I don't know. Billy's been my best friend since kindergarten. I can't just ditch him.
Right. That made sense. In fact, in a weird way, it was kind of like Caitlin and me. We'd been best friends forever, and when she'd jeer at the Aber-zombies and posers back at our old school, I'd always laugh, even though sometimes I felt bad for them. Now the tables were turned. Maybe Chad and I were more alike than I realized. I realized he was still staring at me. I tilted my head. "Did you want something else?"
Actually, yeah.
He shoved a hand into his pocket and pulled out another piece of paper. He unfolded it and dropped it on my desk.
I, found this in a magazine. I thought, well, your drawings are really good. Maybe you'd like to enter or something.
I stared down at the paper. It was a contest for young artists who wrote and drew manga. My eyes widened as I read the rules. Create an original graphic novel and send it in. First prize was publication and $10,000? So cool! A chance to have my drawings seen and graded by a professional editor. And if I won, actual publication. My story would be published in a manga magazine. How cool would that be? Not to mention the cash prize. $10,000 would be enough for tuition back at my old school. I could go back to my friends and never think of Hannah Dustin High School ever again. "Thanks," I said, my eyes shining, putting aside for a moment that the contest entry form had been hand-delivered by Billy's lackey. "This is really cool."
No prob.
he said with a self-conscious shrug. He ran a hand through his beautiful wavy blonde hair.
You should definitely enter. You're really good. That elf totally reminds me of...
Chad, let's go!
Chad froze in his tracks at Billy's command from out in the hallway. He shot me an apologetic look and backed away.
Anyway,
He said.
I'll, see you around.
And with that, he turned tail and ran. I watched him go, shaking my head. Such a waste of cuteness. It was nice of him to tell me about the contest, though. And he said he liked my drawing. That was cool. But at the end of the day, I knew none of that mattered. He was and would always be one of the haters, and thus would always be the enemy.